Green Lantern and Wonder Woman were supposed to be a thing. Why? Cuz. The logic behind it, as we shall examine, is both mundane, sad, and fantastic in equal measure. Greetings, comic lovers, and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from music, comics new and old, to history to anecdotes, really wherever our whims take us. So, how did we get here? Well, from several directions. In DC vs. Vampires #3, vampire Hal Jordan continued his reign of bafflingly attractive terror by seemingly turning Wonder Woman in one of those seductive vampire hypnosis scenes. Complete with a, "we're the same, you and I," only they really aren't or weren't. Oh, there's also some of this. "But I have a greater power inside me now, and your lasso is showing you the proof of that. This is what's best for me and for you. You opened yourself up to the truth and overpowered you. Now let it bring us closer." So I made some quips, as is my way, and then was told by some of you in the comments that no, this was supposed to happen in the 70s. We almost had this, not as vampires, but just as regular members of the Justice League. Well, I couldn't let this almost canon ship die, lost to the realms of abandoned memories. Also, I was curious, and I hoped the tale would be hilarious. It kinda is, but alas, not in the ways that I hope, which was for awkward panels of Hal trying to woo Diana. The New 52 kinda gave us that, but that was more Diana crushing Hal's soul. It was anti-flirting, really. This is a romance you could have entirely missed if you weren't a person who read the letters columns, wherein fans wrote in expressing thoughts, admiration, disdain, theories, all kinds of things. Also, sometimes some of them may have been plants. They're well worth reading, they're entertaining, and every now and again you do get a little kernel of information in there. So let's see just how and why Hal Jordan was gonna end up as a suitor for Diana. I'm Sasha, by the way, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, join us on this comic book journey. Where are we going? I don't even know. The opportunity for Diana to have a new love interest arose because of Wonder Woman issue 248, which saw the death of Steve Trevor. Again, Steve had already died at the start of the mod Wonder Woman era and had to be brought back to life via convoluted retcon. This would ultimately see him being brought back in the body of Arrows, but people wouldn't know that for quite some time. Arrows thought he was Steve. The thing is, Steve was very publicly dead, so he needed a new persona, a new identity. He's a brunette now, and then he changed his name to Steve Howard. Steve's creativity knows no bounds. Sometimes they just call him Steve Trevor Howard. Well, the same complaints of Steve being boring and damselly still plagued him, and he would die again with plans in place behind the scenes that Diana would date a member of the JLA. A letter in issue 253, which happens to be an adventure that sees Diana spending much time in space fighting aliens in slave Princess Leia outfits, even though this predates that. This was a look before that, but it's what I associate it with. In the letters column, someone had some shade to throw at Steve. Actually, a couple of people did, but we're gonna read this one in its entirety. Rich Archer wrote, "Dear editor, thanks to DC and to the editors, artists, and writers of Wonder Woman, who made it such a wonderful book." Wonderful in quotes. And special thanks to Jack C. Harris for writing Wonder Woman number 248. It must have been the best story I've read in months. The shade. Finally, Steve Trevor / Howard is out of the Amazon's life for good. Let's hope so. I've always thought it would be nice for Wonder Woman and Superman to get together. They almost did in World's Finest number 204. Lois Lane and Steve Trevor are the same. Maybe you could kill off Lois Lane too and it would be all set. It would be nice for Wonder Woman to get a new outfit. It's been about the same ever since she was created. I love that segue. Kill them, also change her outfit. Please do something to brighten up Diana Prince's life too. Rich, Wonder Woman had a clothing boutique. Did you miss the whole mod arc? She had so many outfits. Better outfits than that, says Rich. Also, leave Lois alone. How dare you? She has much more personality than Steve Trevor. Let her marry Lex or something, or Bruce. The response from Jack C. Harris, the Wonder Woman writer at the time, went as follows. "Here's a story that never happened, all because of an alert and bright young comics fan. We were planning to have Wonder Woman and another JLA member have a romance. We had it all set," in quotes, when a fan wrote in and suggested the very idea we had in preparation. Fearing that the fan would claim we stole his idea, we canceled the plan before it even reached the writer's typewriter. Who is the other superhero? Can you guess? You see, that's the letter I want. Was this in the letters column, or did somebody actually send this into the offices? What was the tone? Was it a casual, hey, Green Lantern and Wonder Woman should hook up. Steve's a pilot, Hal's a pilot, and she'd have to save him less. Think about it. Or was it a passionate appeal with charts and cited examples and issue numbers, glimpses of interactions and why they should be more? Which would be very impressive because they did not interact all that much during this time period. This will haunt me. I need to know how this was pitched. So at the time it was left hanging for a bit, but fans were curious and the question had been posed. Who was this JLA member? So in issue 259 there was a follow-up letter. This one from an Anthony Mizzi. I love that people replied to each other's letters. People made friendships through the letters columns. People found their spouses through the letters columns. Magical. Dear editor, beautiful. beautiful. Wonder Woman number 253, Spirit of Silver, Soul of Gold, was simply a beautiful conclusion to the Empress of the Silver Snake. I'm gonna leave the gushing over that storyline alone and get to the meat. We're here for the ship. I shall now devote the rest of this letter to the little riddle you handed us in your response to Rich Archer's letter, as to whom you were going to have get romantically involved with Wonder Woman. Let us go through the list of male JLA members and we will find the guilty, in quotes, party. First, Aquaman, Atom, Elongated Man, Flash, and Hawkman can't be the ones since they're married. Second, Green Arrow can't be the one because of Black Canary, and Superman can't because of Lois Lane. Third, we can forget Red Tornado since he's an android. The bigotry. It's rendered all the more funny now because Red Tornado did get a family. Androids deserve love too. This leaves us Batman and Green Lantern. Of these two, I'll put my money on the Caped Crime Fighter. Caped Crusader. I am in total disagreement with your decision to pull Wonder Woman's JLA romantic interest. That passionate shipper sign-off. A kindred soul. Those Bat 1D shippers hanging in strong for decades. Jack C. Harris responded with, "You're around the money almost to the end, Tony. How do you know that he wants to be called Tony? Maybe he likes to go by Anthony." Presumptuous. Your logic was correct, but you missed on your conclusion. Green Lantern was the one we were going to slate for a romance with the Amazon princess. At first, our only reason for denying these two their little rendezvous was that, as stated, some readers suggested it. But now things are a little more out of hand. We thought it would be easy since the editor of Green Lantern and the writer of Wonder Woman, so him, were the same person. Since that is no longer true, the logistics of such a meeting are difficult. However, if enough of you write... No, the problem was that they wrote in the first place. Don't tell them to write more. So it essentially boiled down to, he was single and ready to mingle, and the writer and editor were the same person. It's so trite, it's amazing. Oftentimes decisions like this are far more spiritless than one likes to imagine. Although maybe he was just keeping it inside and having some couth. Inside he was screaming because Hal and Diana must be. A new love interest for Diana had already appeared for her in issue 252, a Mike Bailey, who she's kissing by issue 253, but not without having some angst about Steve Trevor. Howard. Well, for someone who wouldn't give me the time of day a few hours ago, that was some kiss, Angel. Angel? No, no! Athena ate me. How can I be with a man who calls me Angel? Just as Steve always did. You tell him that you don't like that pet name and you would prefer something else. And him, most likely in the interest of getting more kisses, would either acquiesce or ask you what you wanted instead. And if not, then no love for Mike. Is that truly one of Steve's core traits? He called me Angel? Are we sure that Steve and Diana weren't equally matched in the boring romance department? They may have been meant to be. Nah. Let's throw some more shade at Steve in the letters column. This excerpt also comes from issue 253, and this one's from Anthony Pictatari Jr. I'm really glad Steve Trevor is dead. This guy was boring and has as much depth as a piece of cardboard. Why? What did Steve do to people? Do you hate Steve Trevor? I need to know. Now, when it comes to fans sending in ideas, it can cause a bit of an awkward kerfuffle. There can be some conundrums for creators if they come into contact with them, or even if they don't, but others assume they have. It's why some so fiercely rail against it. It can lead to lawsuits or accusations or simply a loss of trust or loss of face. Parallel thought is a difficult thing to prove and tackle. The way it can be decried, though, is a bit intense. Many of these combos happen online, or specifically on social media platforms or social media adjacent platforms. And as we know, social media is where nuance and manners go to die. Now all I'm doing is pondering it. How would you credibly put Hal and Diana together? Or would you pick another Green Lantern for her, if she's going the Green Lantern route? But for Hal and Diana, aside from them both being in the league, what do they have in common? What brings them together? What are their core traits that they could rally and get behind? Or some seeming opposites where they could balance each other out? I want more than hypnosis isn't lying, Diana. It's speaking to your vulnerability. I'm not writing Green Lantern or Wonder Woman, so let's have some fun with this. Pitch me some ideas. Roleplay as the passionate fan writing in about why GL and Wonder Woman deserve their shot at love. What's your pitch? If there's enough fun ones, we'll make a bit about it. In brightest day, on moonlit nights, no romance shall escape my sight. Let those who covet true love's might beware my goggles, shipper's sight. You like that? It took me about 3 minutes, and it shows. I hope you enjoyed exploring this romance that wasn't, and the dramatic letter reading. We're working up to dramatically reading the code. I haven't bought a chair and everything, but I gotta set it up. Do you have a favorite letter or recall seeing one, something that stuck with you? Have you ever written one yourself? Tell me things down below and I can't wait to read your pitches. Thanks so much for taking this time today spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. Do the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.